I have a lot of boots. Rarely have I picked up one that looked so average, yet felt so comfortable and is so versatile. How you going? Welcome to Bootlosophy, and if you're new here, my name is Tech. I acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and waters on which I work, Nani Gadij Nija, Wajak Nunga Buja. This is a wedge-soled derby or derby boot from a new brand called Hanka. Now this boot, confusingly, is called the Nomad. It's confusing because Mexican brand Devier also have a Nomad, but it's a mock toe boot. But just to start off with some transparency, this boot was given to me for review, but I haven't been paid or sponsored to say nice things about it. I don't even have an affiliate link, so you're going to get the pros and cons as I see it. I am a boot collector and reviewer, so when I'm offered a boot for review, I still get excited. Even though on the computer monitor, it's not a particularly, reach out and grab you to buy boot. Its design is actually quite plain and, we've all seen plain toe wedge sole boots before, right? But look a bit closer and there are undeniably attractive bits about it. First of all, it has nice proportions based on what I think is an European styled last. By that I mean it has a nicely proportioned almond toe shape without being so pointy that it squeezes your toes. And in profile, down the shaft, the vamp and into the toe box, it curves really nicely. I think the derby style boot shape with this wedge sole has an attractive aesthetic line to it. On their website, the same boot, with or without toe cap, is available with what is essentially a studded day-night-like sole. Without the wedge sole, they kind of look normal or average and certainly not about to turn heads. The Nomad, this Hanka Nomad, is a 6-inch high boot, plain toe with a single pattern vamp, quarter pieces split with a lengthy heel counter cover that extends into the joint of the quarters and the vamp, and a thin backstay. The long heel counter cover is another twist in the design that's not average, and I like that complex look at the heel. Using the open derby or derby style of lacing where the quarter pieces form the lacing strip, you can actually open the laces out and look straight into the tongue. Apart from that, there's really nothing special about it, except that taken as a whole, I think it's a prettier boot than when I first glanced at it. And I've also found it to be very versatile in terms of what you can wear it with. It is not a formal boot, but in any kind of informal or casual situation, it suits your neutral-based outfit, especially with this kind of saddle tan type of color. You can get this Nomad in tan or black, and the tan is, I think, way more versatile. The color and style goes with olive green chinos and a casual white button down. It can give a relaxed late summer vibe. Or of course, you can wear it with jeans and a t-shirt, and maybe throw on a flint and tinder wax trucker jacket in the cooler months and make the tan and white wedge stand out in a blue monochrome outfit. You can also try it with much smarter casual clothes like a pair of khaki chinos, a light blue dress shirt and a relaxed sports coat. This one is from Proper Cloth. I think you could wear this outfit to your office for work. I've also worn it when I went up north to do some work with the traditional owners of the Katherine region in the Northern Territory, and I wore it with jeans and a work shirt with my sleeves rolled up. Let's take a look at the brand. As I said, it's relatively new, and I became aware of it when a few people I follow, including Ryan from the Yushu channel, shout out to Ryan, they started wearing their service boot Capto on Instagram. It's a Montreal, Canada-based brand, but they make their boots in India. When I did my unboxing and first impressions video, someone commented that Indian brands might register in China but really operate out of India. I hadn't thought of that. And I'm not in Canada, so I can't just look them up and drop in on them. But ultimately, if it's not a scam, but is a marketing play, I'm not that bothered. They openly state in their website that their boots are made in India. And what does made in India mean? It's interesting, when I talk with people, made in China is bad. And ultimately because they have mainly their government and their work practices. Made in Mexico, however, is okay because, I don't know why, because they're in the Americas maybe. Made in Spain, England, Portugal, all good. Why? Old, historical, Northampton-based quality? I mean, not all English footwear is made in Northampton by historical brands, right? I have had some English shockers in the past, cheap and nasty, but made in England. Looking at the facts though, India has been making stitched and recraftable footwear using hand-welted methods, Goodyear welting and stitched down construction for at least a couple of 100 years when, like the Dutch colonialists taking their construction methods to Bandung in Indonesia, the Poms took their industries to India. Industrial and industry production of leather goods and textiles was huge before colonialism. Up to the 17th century, before colonialism, the Indian GDP was 25 to 35% of the entire world's GDP. By 1947, when they gained their independence, it was down to 2%. Now, I'm not saying there was a rape and pillage of their economy, but 25% to 35%, down to 2%. Something happened. Anyway, the history is that India made and makes great footwear. Chukka boots were made there, designed for polo players between matches and named after the set periods of time of a polo match. Jodhpur boots were designed and made in India and named after the second largest city in the state of Rajasthan. In the 1990s, even British Northampton brands started making boots in India, treating Indian factories like American brands treat factories in Leon, Mexico. Hanker itself uses the reliable Goodyear welted form of construction in their boots and their European, if not English, sense of design. They offer a cat-toe boot, the Guardian, in 2 colors. They also offer a plain-toe service or derby boot with studded soles called the Frontier in 4 types of uppers. They have a Regal Chelsea boot in 4 uppers, and their Spica or Spitzer chukka boot comes in 2 colors. And of course, this Nomad comes in black or tan. The sizes offered are in US sizes, between 8 and 13, average width only, no half sizes and no wide widths. They say to go true to your Brannock size, and if you're a half size, to go down to the next whole size. I'll discuss it later, but I think they're right. Now let's go to construction. But before I do, I hope you don't mind me reminding you to like and subscribe. It really helps me to grow my channel and hopefully then reach out to more people who want to know more about heritage style boots. Okay, construction. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. The outsole is the Vibram white wedge sole as used by the Red Wing Classic Mock Toe and many other brands. It's soft without being too fast wearing, and it's so comfortable for shock absorption and arch support. The wedge sole is glued to a veg tan leather midsole that's about 3 millimeters thick. Now this midsole is glued and then stitched to the uppers using the Goodyear welt form of construction. I'm not going to go into too much detail. If you want to know more, you can go and see my video about the 4 main types of boot construction, or you can go and see my older videos, my older reviews, where I explain how, in the boot review, how the boot is put together. I gave very detailed explanations on the basis that many people who watch my videos are new to boots, and potentially I'm boring regular viewers because they're so knowledgeable now. But there is a balance, and I think if you go and watch my video on the 4 main types of construction, that's probably the balance there. I'll even leave a link to that video in the description area below. So onwards. The midsole is attached to the outside edge of the welt, going around the whole edge of the boot. The cavity or well that's caused by that 3+ millimeter of veg tan leather welt is filled with cork as a filler, and also it allows you to give yield in the tread. There is a steel shank, 10 or so centimeters of steel inserted into the cork bed for arch support and torsional stability. The inside edge of the welt is stitched to the leather insole or footbed, which is also veg tanned. This form of construction is recraftable when you wear out the outsole, and it's very water resistant. On the footbed, they glue a thin strip of leather with a thin foam backing just under the heel for comfort, just in there. Still inside the boot, the vamp is lined with a canvas lining, a la Red Wing Iron Ranger, but the shaft is lined with leather. I don't get this choice. I criticize it in the Iron Ranger and I don't like it here. if you use leather lining for the shaft, what cost is it going to add to extend that into the vamp? Another criticism, the tongue is totally ungusseted, and in time on my feet they will slip to one side or another. I have punched 2 slits on each tongue with a sharp chisel and made my own lace holders. I reckon they could easily do that as well, or sew on a small lace holder to keep the tongue in place. Now, moving outside the boot, the upper's leather, I don't know the tannery, is described in the website as an European origin oil pull-up leather from an LWG certified tannery. Maybe they source the leather from several tanneries, but I don't think it's good practice to not say at least the names of the regular tanneries used. Wherever it's from though, it's not too bad. It's full grain leather, and it takes punishment quite well, as I found out when I wore it to Catherine, and it comes back from the punishment quite well. The overall feel is a sturdy and supportive leather, although it's only 2 millimeters thick, supported by a 1+ millimeter thick lining. It also comfortably wraps around your feet. The lacing uses 7 eyelets, no speed hooks, which oddly I didn't find hard to lace up. I think maybe because they just place right. You can pull the opening up easily enough. The stitching is really good. It's clean and consistent. There are only double stitches everywhere, so it's not designed as a rugged boot to climb up Mount Everest. The Goodyear welt stitching is very, very consistent and close to the edge. Overall, I think it's well put together. Now on to Leathercare. Instead of telling you about it, I'll let you go and see. I made a video after my visit to Catherine, and if you go watch it in the corner, you'll see how the leather takes a beating, gets really scratched up, but then repairs itself with the help of Venetian shoe cream. As a result, my verdict on the durability of the leather and the way it responded to a conditioning is 2 thumbs up. Moving on to the sizing and comfort, let's first talk about comfort. For my feet, perfection. Despite the pointy looking toe, I did not get squeezed anywhere, despite wearing it every day for, it would have been 9 to 10 hours a day over the course of a week in a tropical climate with uneven ground underfoot and a lot of heat and rain. My feet were not hot, and standing all day in front of a whiteboard was totally comfortable. The fit is snug and supportive, and the wedge sole and the inside construction is just great. And in terms of sizing, as I said earlier, they said go true to size, but go down to the nearest full size if you're in half sizes. That's what they said. So in my terms, I'm US 8.5D on the Brannock device. In most US heritage boots, I take an 8D. In Iron Rangers and other Red Wings, in Truman's 79 Last, in Parkhurst's 602M and 618s, and in Grantstone and in Thursday. For UK-based sizing, that's a 7.5, and that's what I take in Viberg's, Cheney's, Crockett & Jones, and in the rounder toe R.M. Williams' Chelsea's. Don't ask me what my sneaker size is, the most useless form of measuring yourself for boots. So with all that information, and since Hanker don't do half sizes or wide widths, I followed their advice and ordered an 8D, and it's a perfect fit. It is expensive for brands to extend their last set, but as soon as they can, I recommend they do this, because go down to your nearest full size if you're a half size is confusing and very stress-making. As to value, at the time of recording, they list at 298 Canadian dollars. This is what they were in January of 2025 when I got them, and I checked. I'm recording in April, same price. So I have no idea if US tariffs are going to change that later. My phone tells me that 298 Canadian is about 340 Australian dollars today. Now that's not bad, even pre any tariff effects. American brands that I think are of similar quality, but with much better known tanneries supplying their leathers, sell at about 350 to 400 US, or in Aussie dollar terms, over 550 Aussie. If on the website you change the currency tab to USD, at least in April of 25, it's listed at 220 US, which is comparable to Thursday, and I'd say the quality is the same compared to Thursday and their Mexican tanned leathers. So in summary, this is, in my opinion, another viable entry-level boot. What I like about it is the design, attractive despite its rather plain looks. I like the comfort for all they wear, and I like the quality of construction without it being rugged or, mountaineering or totally outstanding. What I don't like are the little things. The canvas lining in the vamp. the loose tongue, small details that they could get right. Anyway, there you have it. A close look at this Nomad boot from Hanker. I hope you like the info that I give you here, and if you found it useful, hey, click on like. And of course, if you're not already subbed, go ahead. There's just more fun to be had in my upcoming reviews. Maybe not Scooby-Doo cartoon fun, but at least some humor. Have a go. Until the next time, guys, you take care out there, and I'll see you soon.